Yeah, how's it going? I'm gonna do a video now about how to do a tune-up on a Stihl engine. Um, First and foremost, here's a tune-up kit. Comes like this: fuel filter, spark plug, air filter. The service kit can do MS210s, 230s, and 250s. This is a 250. So we'll swap this out. I'll show you how to line or how to sharpen the chain, how to tighten it up. And here's the tools that I need. You need one of these, a Sprench is what they're called, an 8mm socket, ratchet, paper towels, cup to get the gas if you have any gas in there. One of these 2-in-1 filers makes it real easy to sharpen the chain. I've always struggled with it. You need a lot of experience in sharpening chains, and unfortunately I don't have it, but this makes it easier and makes it pretty much seamless to do it. So first of all, you're going to take the cover off. It should be like this. Go ahead and put your choke all the way down. Just comes off like that. I had already opened it before, so my air filter was way dirtier, but starting again, so I'll show you on video how to do it. Of course, these are going to be a little bit tighter. This is what we need the wrench for, but I just hand tighten them, so fairly easy to get off right now. Just both of them. There's that. A lot of people, if you have a compressed air, you can just go ahead and clean like that. My compressed air doesn't work right now, so I want to go ahead and just use carbon throttle body cleaner. Just spray some in there and it cleans it out pretty well. Makes it pretty easy to clean. Go ahead and take this off. I'll go ahead and start with the spark plug. The NPRC spark plug is a BPM R7A. They sell these pretty cheap on Amazon as well by themselves. If you just want to change these out every once in a while, I would say the air filter and the gas filter last the longest on these. This one, I would say it'll still hold up a bit, but honestly, that's about that time for me. It's been over a year since I did maintenance on it, and I cut nothing but big logs with this small engine, so might as well do that preventive maintenance before I get into the heavy season of log splitting. So what you're gonna do, turn left, pull it out fairly quickly, fairly easily. Just go ahead and spin it out. And there you go. Not too bad. It's definitely about that time though. I always like to put a little bit of diluted grease. The spark plug, make sure it still has a little bit, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit to it. And we'll go ahead and put this back in. Hand tighten it all the way. Come in here, it was about a half turn. So about there. And there's that. Go ahead and change out the air filter. So I want to go ahead and attach it from here. Little clips here. Take it out just like that. Of course, that's why these shop towels go very quickly. Use them for everything. Go ahead and clean what you can. important thing on this, because sometimes when you take this off, this just dangles around like that. So the important thing with this one, there's a little holder up there. Then what you want to do is you want to put this hole goes in here so you can adjust it, and then this one goes for this one like this. I don't think you're able to get to this one just by having the cover on, but you should be able to get to that one fairly easily. And then so this goes like this. Pretty simple. Carburetor is very clean. I don't see any buildup, no gunk buildup. I ran out of thermal body spray, otherwise I would definitely get a bit more in here to clean up, but it's compared to working conditions, this is pretty clean. I wouldn't be too worried about it. Go ahead and put the new one in. Snaps right on. And push it in, make sure it's flush. Okay. And tighten it as much as possible. And ratchet it down. You don't want it overly tight, you just want it real snug. Definitely don't want to break anything in there. So still make sure your choke is down. Come in here. And there it is. And now most of the time you're always going to have fuel in here. So you just go ahead and here, before I do this, of course you're going to have a bit of sawdust. So get a little brush. Do as much as possible. Smaller brush would probably be better, but that's what I had in hand. Make sure nothing got in there. Alright, so now you're going to go ahead and take out your gas. That way you're not wasting it all. Put that to the side for now. And clean any debris off you have off of here. Now comes the fun part. See the holes in here? You might be able to get your finger on it. Yep, you should be able to get your finger on it. Here it is. Fuel filter. Pulls right off. Pull it out. Press it back in. Make sure it's tight on there. It is. So back it goes. Push it down if possible. Alright. That's pretty much it. this is an extra step for me, but I am very much a believer in seafoam. So with that said, since I'm doing a tune-up, I want to try to get some of that carbon buildup inside the engine out. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bit of seafoam on it. Nothing crazy, just a little bit, since this is a small engine. Second goes our gas. And that's it. We're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharpening the chain as well as tightening it. But if you just wanted to watch how to do the tune-up kit, that's pretty much it. I started for y'all. Like you knew. I did notice I had left this out. Sorry about that, but you can put this on at any time. Just slides right in like that. Put this back on, make sure it's flush, everything's flush. Tighten it there. That's good. Okay, so I'm gonna sharpen these as well as tighten it up. To tighten it up, there's a little flat head here. You're gonna go ahead and try to tighten it. Nah, it's too loose. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. Once the chain gets too loose, so you're gonna go ahead and loosen these two up. This is off. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of large logs like right now for cutting wood, firewood, so it's definitely getting used heavily. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off right now just to try to get some of this stuff off. So wherever you can with this. A little tight right there. To tighten that, you're gonna need one of these. You can just get a T. Let me double check real quick what this is. So this looks to be a Torx 27, T27. It's gonna use to tighten this. Mind you, that part shouldn't get loose often, but with all the vibration, I can, it's definitely easy to tell why it gets loose. Just go ahead and tighten back up. Then go ahead and put your chain back on. Chain. Try to get the sprocket part in first. Okay, so that's actually pretty much it. think that's actually about it. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it just a little bit more. So you're gonna go to clockwise to tighten it. It's pretty tight. You don't want it super tight. You want just a little bit of play still. Otherwise you're putting too much pressure on the chain. Hold this down. Gonna want to tighten one of them down fairly quite a bit. That way you're not trying to do two things at once. So now you can put these on correctly. And these tighten in as much as you can without trying to break it. But I have had one fall off while I was chainsawing. So now I don't take any chances and I tighten it as much as possible. And that's it. Chainsaw's back on. It's actually a little bit too tight. A little bit. You can adjust a little bit to the left. Should give you a little bit of slack. So yeah, counterclockwise, try to give yourself a little bit of slack. Once you put everything back together, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement here in the adjuster, but that should be enough. Like I said, it might be a little bit too tight, but now this is the magic right here. This, it's super easy to adjust. Let me adjust the camera a bit. So this one is the 0.325 file size, or 4/8 millimeter. 4,8 millimeters. Sorry about that. You should be able to see them. You should be able to pull a tag with this. This makes it so much easier to sharpen your chainsaw. I struggled with this quite a bit before. So now that I'm able to do it with the machine, makes a world of difference. Makes everything go much quicker, much faster. So you're going to want to bend the support at the end. Straightforward. It's got arrows on both sides. So whatever the arrows are, that's the way you're going to move. So you want it, first of all, you want it to be flat, like this. This will be flat against the chain. You put a little bit of pressure backwards. You're going to move it forward like this. You want it to end up like that. You can always check. I've done, from what I understand, the Stihl guide says do 3 passes, but I often find that that's not sharp enough. So I do a minimum of 5, sometimes up to 10, if I really put some work into this chain. So that was 5, and I still feel this a little bit dull. So now we're getting somewhere. So definitely watch it. Like you saw right now, if you can, wear some gloves, because accidents do happen, and you're sharpening a chain, so one little slip up and you're gonna mess up your finger. So like I said, try to remain it even. Push up against the surface. And you want to go one way with the file, you never go two. This chain's pretty worn down already. I've put a lot of use into it these last few weeks. So you're gonna want to, when you get ready for the other side, just gonna flip this over and do the same thing. That's going to give you a pretty sharp chain. Like I said, as you can tell, I'm almost to that part. I've probably got 1 or 2 more filings, and then I'm going to have to put the new chain on. But I've used and abused this chain already for quite a while, so this has definitely helped me get the full usage of it. These normally run about 40, 45. So, but they're definitely worth the money. You know, each chain is about $17, $18. So if you do the math, after about 2 or 3 chain wears, that you get your full money's worth off of this one. And where I go buy my equipment, they charge about $8 to sharpen a chain. So if, you know, it doesn't take but 2-3 hours of you know, using a chain against the logs. You know, every time you hit a little bit of dirt, you're dulling it a lot. You know, just burn. You know, especially with these smaller motors. You know, if you or smaller chains as well, if you run them against logs quite a bit, you're putting a lot of pressure on them, so they do wear down. So, you know, for me, this is definitely a must-have. All right, so sharp, or about as sharp as I want it to be. One more thing I wanted to show y'all. Took me a bit of time. It's probably self-explanatory, but sometimes you think about overthink things. So you pull this up, and they come out, right? Rotate them. That way, you know, if one part gets used up quite a bit, you can rotate and get another part out. But what took me a while of how to figure out how to get this one out, you gotta take the middle one out and then rotate it, and then this one comes out. Because this one, if you try to take it out when the middle file is in, you're gonna be struggling quite a bit, and no point in doing that. So let's put this back in. Get to go. Safety on. That's it. All 3 of these should be replaceable, so this should be able to last you a long time. And that's it. That's the maintenance on the chainsaw. Like and subscribe.